Alright, so today is October 25th. Jaybird and Devin dug I got this cook stove. I think it was down in Mom and Dad's basement for a while. But I put it in the green shed for some heat because we were in there during trapping season doing some skinning and stuff. So we need a little bit of heat, but it didn't really work that well because I didn't have a proper flue put up, but still in pretty good shape. That baby's pretty old. It's a Home Comfort. So Jaybird and them are thinking about using it or whatever. I seen there's old 83. He lost his ear tag, but normally I would go in there, but boy, he looks good. Filled out nice. Anyway, normally I would go in there, but with my back being the way it is, I just don't want to chance it because I can't really move that fast. So if I have to get out of there in a hurry, that's no good. So I have we're gonna walk down here to the creek, but I have my follow-up appointment with the surgeon. That all went really well. I gotta go back and see him in 4 weeks, but he said, just keep doing what you're doing. Gave me very specific instructions on what I'm allowed to do and what I'm not. So he did say I'm allowed to lift a gallon of milk now, or 8 pounds. So I went from a cup of coffee to a gallon of milk in about 4 weeks. So, or no, it's been about 2 to 3 weeks. But anyway, I am feeling better. I still have some pain and stuff, I'm assuming it's just from the nerve healing there in that herniated disc, so it'll be okay. But I gotta keep moving, walking. That's about all I'm allowed to do. While we're walking down here to the creek, I planted this field there. Oh, I don't know, it was in September. Tried to get it planted. We had that long drought and we had some rain coming, so I got it in before the rain. And even though we've had a couple heavy frosts, it's still looking really good. So hopefully here before deer season, or right at deer season, I'll open that up and the deer will probably start hitting that pretty hard, I imagine. I wanted to do a video on kind of like a follow-up on the creek project after U.S. Fish and Wildlife was here and come back and fixed a few things. So we're going to take a look at that. That's what I'm doing now, walking down here so I can show you. Creek level finally come up pretty good. It's probably not normal yet, but so this is the one area that they fixed on the very edge of my property, on the south side, we'll call it. And let's walk down here ever so gently. So right up there is the cattle crossing. Let's go up and look at that. Stand by. All right, here's where they redid these cross veins and stuff, and you can see the seed they put in. It's growing real good. They dug this out, dropped the elevation on this. Let's go up here. This is all holding up real well. We haven't really had any drastic high water since they did it. Right here you can just see there's a cross vein that goes right there. That's to hold this level back, so for the cattle crossing, to keep it from getting too deep here. I gotta be careful here. Make sure the fence is off. All right. Last thing, oh, these cotton picking hitchhikers are just terrible this year. But the cattle crossing looks pretty decent. They didn't really touch any of this too much. They did dig it out a little bit, but other than that, it's pretty good. Yeah, well, whenever I get to feeling better, I'm gonna, the whole way around all this fence, all these trees are getting cut back and it's getting cleared out. So I want to be able to drive a tractor the whole way around the inside of this fence. Tina and I got the fencing on this side fixed. We started fixing this side the other day. Devin was helping me. And then we ran into a little snag here that I wasn't real happy about. And I'll show you. Let me see if I can find this one. So, yeah, here. You see that? So when they brought the skid steer or something through here, they ran over that one there is, I tried to rebend it and use it, but it won't hold. So I got to get new tensioners, and then like these little, see these little crimps here and stuff. So I got to buy a tool and crimps and all that jazz so I can fix my fence back up, and that's going to cost me a couple $100, which any of you that have went through having to deal with disability insurance and all that, you know it's been like a month, and you know I still haven't got a check. So now they do back pay you, but you gotta wait till you go through. And it's just, that's the other thing, the amount of paperwork you have to go through. It's just insane. But the good Lord always takes care of us. He'll see it through, and we'll be better for it in the end. This piece of creek right here, all they did really was kind of dredge this out a little bit and lower the elevation. We're going to go up here. I want to show you this piece. That's where that big log sill is against the far bank. All right, stand by. All right, right here's where we head down in. You can see the seed they planted. It's coming up pretty good. I'm just stopping here. I'm looking for fish before I walk down in there. I see a couple little ones. I don't see any real big ones. Man, there's some big fish up there in that other hole. Anyway, they dredged this out a little bit. This log sill here held up really good. So they didn't have to do a lot to it. And then you come up here. I'm really making this video for one person that works for Fish and Wildlife, Tom. So Tommy, I'm going to send you this video, bud. So you'll be able to look and see how everything, look at that. You know what that is? That's a plague. Japanese knotweed. Kill it. That's gonna die. But all this is a really nice hole here. This stone cross vein's holding up pretty good. All right. Yeah, this Japanese knotweed is taking over our waterways, and it is completely beyond me. It is so bad. And I don't even know who's supposed to take care. I think it falls under the USDA. You know, they bring these plants in as ornamental, and they're non-native, and they come in and they take over and just push out all our native species, and it's completely unacceptable. And I don't know what or who is supposed to oversee that kind of stuff with the, I don't know, I'm pretty sure it's the USDA, but I don't know. Or, you know, Department of Environmental Protection, whoever it is. Sorry about the sun. But gosh dang, I can't tie my shoes, so I gotta tuck my shoelaces into my shoes, and then I got one flopping here, but I can't bend over. Anyway, these people need to get their head out of the rear end and get this problem taken care of. Right here in Centre County, yeah, this is a touchy subject for me, but like Spring Creek, which is one of the one of the best fisheries in the whole eastern United States, and here again, you know, environmental protection was supposed to have things in place, and there was a chemical plant up there that was, let's say, not right by the stream, but it was by a stream that flowed into Spring Creek, and they had a keepone spill, and it polluted the entire, well, not the entire, but, and then it polluted a good bit of that stream. And I know somebody that retired from DEP, and I asked him, I said, when would we be able to eat a fish out of Spring Creek? And he said, not in your lifetime. It's just, it's, what are we paying these people for? Who's holding them accountable? There's a great big brown trout right down here. I'm trying to see if I can, oh, there's one. Oh, I already scared him. There he went. Dang it. Anyway, there's a big brown trout down there. He's about, oh, he's pushing 18 inches, and he's fat. But that hole right there, they didn't do any excavator work in there, so even though Tom and them guys moved as many fish as they could up and down the stream to get them out of the way of the equipment to save them, that one, they didn't have to disturb it at all, so the fish just held right there in that hole. Anyway, getting back to what I was saying there. you know, I'm just like everybody else. I got 101 things to do. Don't even get me started on the Pennsylvania Game Commission. And it's not, listen, it's not that, you know, they got a job to do. I get that. But they just push it too far. And they don't realize I'm trying to think of a good example to give you here. Okay. It's like the elk, okay? They say they're their elk, the Pennsylvania Game Commission's elk. They're not their elk. You know who pays for the Pennsylvania Game Commission to even be in existence? All the sportsmen do. You know, there was, out where I used to live, the elk are pushing out because they're getting overpopulated. And they came down into a farm. Got another stinking hitchhiker. They came down into a farm where I grew up when I was younger, and you know, they wouldn't let the farmer harvest them. They brought a sniper in. They killed the whole herd off. It's just nonsense. You know, you figure an average elk, let's just say 500 pounds. Let's say you get, just to be conservative, let's say you get 300 pounds of meat off of it, right? A dozen elk, that's 3,600 pounds of meat. And I guarantee you they wouldn't have had any problem getting rid of it. It's just baloney. Okay, so Tommy. Here's what we're looking at, bud, and I hope the sun don't mess it up. So here's coming down in, this is where our old Ford farming Ford used to be. We had to move it. So you can see all the grass and everything's coming up real nice. I'm hoping it holds till next spring, or it'll come back up and reseed or whatever. And then you can see all that's coming in real nice. Because it's really, when they did this the last time, it's just filled in with nothing but weeds and stuff. But I'm hoping this seed they put down will hold over till next year and get more established. So here you can see the stream is pushing up underneath that log sill, which gives the fish nice cover. It's doing its job. I'm hoping the camera does it justice, but you've been here now. You guys know where I'm at and what I'm talking about. And then right down here at the end, Tommy. So right there's where we turned it back in and put those rocks, heavy rocks and stuff in. That's all holding up good. But the creek hasn't really come up to any significance to establish itself where it wants to be. But everything's holding up good so far. This creek channel, once we get some high water, it'll figure out where it wants to go, and then that's where the channel will, you know, it'll stay unless we get into like flood stage or whatever. Because at that point, it's going to do what it's going to do. I mean, you can try a little bit to persuade it to do one thing or the other. I'm trying to see if I can get up on the other side here. I got to be careful because if I slip or something, it's not going to be good for my back. All right. That was pretty good. So here's what it looks like from the other side. Right up there, Tommy's where you seen the fisher in the creek getting crawfish. So everything's looking good. I'm gonna walk back here and check my back pasture, see what it looks like. So all this brown stuff here you see is Japanese stilt grass, and I just had the state forester was here the other day. I'm trying to get into a program so we can get this stuff killed back and get some native species seeded in here. Yeah, Japanese stilt grass is another one that should have never been here. Yeah, this back pasture looks beautiful. Man, oh man, thank you, Jesus. This is gonna make some great winter forage. I know the camera doesn't do it justice, but some of this stuff is 10, 12 inches tall, and it's just primo grazing. I try to save there's a big sugar maple. I try to save them. What's that one? There's another sugar maple there. But I am gonna try to eventually just keep working on this and opening this bottom up a little bit the best I can. There's not a lot of width here, but it's pretty long. So I think, yeah, that's a sugar maple there, that's a sugar maple there, that's a poplar. There's some sassafras. Most of this down in here is basswood. I'm going up. This is going up, Tommy, where we put the new Ford in. I don't know why there's no seed growing here, and there's a pretty big, I don't know why the seed didn't take there. This piece here, I maybe seeded this a little harder. This piece here is grown pretty good to hold this bank in. And I had no problem bringing the haying equipment across whatsoever. There's another piece you can see right there. It's greening up real good. That they put another cross vein in up on that side to keep that, or there's one on both sides, but to keep that channel centered. Then there's a look down the creek. Yeah, any of you guys, and I've said this before, I know it's a process, but any of you guys that have wetlands or water on your property, you know, that you'd like to do a fish habitat improvement or whatever, you know, get a hold of the NRCS office or your conservation district, or I don't know, you could probably call Fish and Wildlife, but they're probably going to direct you to one of those two agencies anyway. And just get the process started. There's a lot of our native brook trout stuff. There's some in here, and you know, they're around, but they need all the help they can get. And like all these secondary tributaries that feed into the Bald Eagle, which is our biggest stream around here, they turned them all into Class A trout streams, so they don't stock them anymore. But, you know, like the browns from the Bald Eagle, they work their way up these tributaries, and they're kind of hard on the native brook trout. All right, Tommy, so right here is the corner up here at the High Pines. This is all coming in good. Greening up pretty good. And then right here is where you open this up a little bit. This is towards the north end of my property as far as the stream's concerned. So we dropped the elevation here. We filled this bank and stuff in. We redid that cross vein down there. So this is all holding up pretty well also. Now the next one I'll do, Tommy, is probably in the spring after we get some high water. And I'll let you know how things are holding up. But anyway, so for any of my friends and family that see this, as far as I'm concerned, I'm doing good. It's just gonna take time till that disc fully heals. I can't really push my luck because I had a conversation with the surgeon the other day, and he's like, the last thing you want to do is blow that thing out again before it heals, he said, because it's not going to be an easy fix. So I'm just going to continue to take it easy, only do what I know I'm allowed to do, and get healed up proper. Yeah, here's what those tensioners are supposed to look like. But I'm not in a real hurry to get that fence put back up just yet, because the cows, they're actually in this pasture here right now, and they got her grazed down about as far as I want them to take it. So I'm gonna move them down one here, maybe this evening. Well, I shouldn't say that. I can pretty much about all I can do is maybe carry the real poly wire and help string that up. I can't really like pound fence posts in or do any of that. Doctor said no, absolutely no way. And I'm not allowed to bend over like to tie your shoes. I'm not allowed to do that at all for any reason. And no twisting. Basically, my feet are always supposed to be in line with my shoulders at all times. And yes, for those of you that know me, I'm about half nuts, because other than walking, I can't work. I was going to try and put some little shelves up there in the basement, and I was like, well, I can't do that without bending. I can't do that without, reaching out and doing stuff. So I didn't even need them shelves in there. I was just looking for something to do. Yeah, so anyway, Jim, Bob, and them are out at camp hunting. I think today's the last day. I was going to go out last night, but I was just beat, man. I could not get enough energy to do it yesterday. So, I didn't go out yesterday, but I think I'm going to eat lunch and maybe head out and see if they're around for a little bit and see what's going on. And go from there. All right, well, nothing exciting, but just the same a video to catch up on everything. So I hope everybody's doing good. God bless each and every one of you. We'll see you on the next one. Here we go.